Now we get a chance to join via Zoom with LJ Martin, one of the best athletes in the city of El Paso, plays for Canutillo. And boy, oh boy, LJ was in the news earlier this week for doing something that rarely ever happens, switching colleges. I like it. I like it so much. We had to bring LJ on to talk to him a little bit about it. Welcome to Sports Talk. Good to see you. And how's your summer going so far, LJ?
It's going great, having a good time, been spending time with the guys and the football team, just putting that work in and trying to get ready for the season.
Nice. I always wonder, how much now, since you're getting ready for your senior year, so how much would you say your summer is spent enjoying yourself, having a little fun, a little downtime, versus working hard, all the hours, the sweat, the blood, the tears, and everything else that goes into it? Give me a little bit of an idea of what the summer is like for you so far.
I would say this last year has been a little bit easier for football because I just focused on football once I got that first offer. And usually I'm doing basketball and football. So now I just haven't had time to football. I usually take 3 hours out of the day, 4 hours to work on my football game, lifting, running routes, stuff like that, being with the team. So I get a lot of free time to myself.
That sounds nice. It does. Now, you said that you got your first offer. So take me back to when that first offer came in and when it did, really, what it was like for you and your family at that point.
Well, it was crazy because, I was first at the SMU camp and DeMarco Murray came over, started talking to me a little bit. And then I got a lot of coaches' numbers after that, like after the camp, which was like insane because that was like the first time I've been to a camp and stuff like that. And then we were going to Oklahoma because he invited me out for the camp, right? So we were going to Oklahoma. And then I get a call from UTSA, Coach Griffin, and he's like, and I'm getting McDonald's. And I remember this vividly because I had a $10 bill and it was all flimsy. So she asked if it was fake when I paid for my McDonald's. So I was at the airport, paid for the McDonald's. And I get a call and he's like, hey, we want to offer you a scholarship to UTSA, da, da. So I go to my dad. He's on the phone with like a coworker or something. And he's all busy. And I'm like, hey, Dad, I'm D1, right? And he thought I was talking about like the receipt. He's like, man, get out of here. Blah, blah, blah. Right. So I called my mom. I was like, hey, Mom, I'm D1, like UTSA offered me. Like, no way. And then, she blows up the group chat. My dad checks the group chat. He's like, why didn't you tell me? I was like, I tried to tell you. You said get away. So, yes, sir.
That's a good story. I like that. So it kind of all started with that and then snowballed from there. At this point, even though you've already announced that you're going to be going to Stanford, how many offers have piled in for you so far, would you say? How many total offers?
I would say around 17, I think. I'm not sure, but I think it's around that number. I'm very blessed just to have those, my family. They're a great support system, sacrificing everything. My sister, we missed a couple of her birthdays, so I'm able to do this. So I really appreciate her for that. And then my parents just putting the money and stuff like that into me.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Now, as far as your career goes, you were telling us before we brought you on that basketball has kind of been your first love sport-wise. When did you start to realize that you had a serious opportunity playing football to potentially take it up to the next level?
I would say more towards sophomore year after, you guys covered my Austin game, so I remember that. And then I had a real breakout game that year, 250 as my first game as a sophomore. So that was good. And then I had a good season. And one of my friends, he was on the 7-on-7 team from Arizona, KJ Cooper. I don't know if you've heard of him, but, he had me on that team. He got me on it. So I did 7-on-7, we went to Dallas, stuff like that. And I saw all these guys, like the 4 stars, 5 stars. I was like, they're not that much better than the guys in El Paso, like they're not nothing crazy. So I worked on it, and then I was able to just, keep on working. And then I finally got into it. And then I was actually playing basketball. And one of my friends asked me why I don't drive no more. And I was like, what do you mean? I don't have a license, because I thought he was talking about driving a car. Right. And then from that moment, I was like, I knew I was out of it. My mindset wasn't right. So I was like, I just want to do football, Dad. So we did the camps, and it went well from there.
How challenging was that decision for you, LJ? Because the first time I was introduced to the name LJ Martin was basketball. You were known for what you were able to do on the court. And, if you had played throughout your 4 years of high school, who's to say where you would end up in basketball? You'd probably be D1 in that ranks too. So how challenging for you was that decision when it was all said and done to choose football?
It was kind of a hard decision because, you know, I grew up playing basketball. My dad played D2 basketball at Western New Mexico on scholarship and stuff like that. And growing up, that's all we did, like basketball. And then just to make that decision, you know, it wasn't hard at the time because, you know, I felt like I was out of it. I put a lot of time into basketball, but I didn't play the year before of AAU because of COVID, right? So trying to get back into it, I was kind of out of it. And then that was probably like 3 weeks before I got my first offer. So then I never really looked back on basketball after that.
That's all it took. It took one good offer in football, and after that, you said, all right, I think I know where my bread's going to be buttered. I like that. LJ Martin with us here on Sports Talk. Although you've had a really interesting story you also relayed to us before the interview, and that was an AAU experience playing for a team in Albuquerque, going up against the team that was coached by the King.
Yes, sir. I played against LeBron James Jr., Bronny. So that was awesome. You know, that was in 7th grade. You know, they had Jazeer Jackson, who was a 6'9" in 7th grade, which is crazy. We were doing good in the first half. You know, LeBron got up, started coaching, broke the clipboard and everything. And then we lost by 40 in the second half, which I don't know how that happened. We don't really talk about that too much, but it was a good first half, and that was really fun.
Did you get a chance to meet LeBron after the game?
Oh, yes, sir. We shook his hand. It was right before Game 7 of Indiana series. It was in 2018, so he had like the little slit on his eyebrow. And I'm a huge LeBron fan. Like, that's my guy. I play in LeBron's everything. And he has that LJ logo, so I love it.
Oh, that's cool. So for you, LeBron has always been kind of your all-time favorite basketball player.
Yes, sir. I think he's the GOAT personally. You know, me and my dad always get in arguments on why Jordan is the GOAT and stuff like that. But, you know, if you're trying to pick a player, like the perfect player overall, yes, you can't beat it.
This is my kind of guy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
LJ Martin with us here on Sports Talk as we continue. Now, regarding the opportunity to go from Texas Tech over to Stanford, let's take us back on how this went down and ultimately how difficult of a decision it was for you to switch schools.
It was a difficult decision because I really liked the coaching staff at Texas Tech, but you know, just talking to my family, you know, my mom, that's always been somewhere that she wanted me to go before, like, even football, like even before I got my first offer. She's always like, I think you should go to Stanford and stuff like that. And I never really took her serious until these last couple of times when I visited the campus. You know, you get to know the coaching staff and stuff like that. You know, Texas Tech was great, but just Stanford and what they could do for you after football, you know, they're getting guys like internships that are worth like so much money, you know, with Tesla's businesses like that. So you just can't beat it.
You know what else it tells me? It tells me that when it comes to academics, you take that as serious as you do your athletic career.
Yes, sir, I do. My parents are always on me, you know, to get straight A's. There was a time in my freshman year in geometry, I was kind of struggling. So I would come home every day after school. My mom would take my phone away and make me like study or just redo something. And it was just horrible. So ever since then, I've been on it.
Man, LJ Martin with us here on Sports Talk as we continue. Now, you mentioned 17 offers coming your way. I'm assuming that at some point, UTEP tried to get in on the discussion to see if there was any way to try to keep you back here in town and have you stay like Deion Hankins and some of the other local greats have, Aaron Jones, and have a chance to play for the Miners.
Yes, sir. That's always been a discussion. You know, Coach Neely, he's a running back coach there, and he does a great job recruiting. I really enjoyed my time with him. I feel like he's a great coach. You know, Coach Demo's a great person, I believe. And, you know, that whole coaching staff, I just love them to death. You know, they were always good people to me. And, you know, just I felt like, you know, trying to get away from El Paso might have helped me grow more as a person because, you know, I'm still in El Paso. I got my parents like 30 minutes away. So I could just call them up for anything. And I feel like if I didn't get out of El Paso, I would never grow as a person, if that makes sense.
It totally does, because there are some athletes that'll be the first to tell you they want to stay close to home. They want to stay by their friends, their family, and they don't want to leave. They're not ready to leave. But you're in the opposite of that. You've realized that if you do get away, and trust me, it's a much longer flight or drive to see you at Stanford than it would be at UTEP. This will be your opportunity to break away a little bit from what you've had your whole life and really have an opportunity to grow both on and off the football field.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that makes a lot of sense. It really does. Now, Stanford, you can't beat the education. You can't beat the program. You'll be playing in the Pac-12. At the same time, you look at the offers you've had, and Texas Tech, outstanding. Stanford, same thing. It's got to really be pretty incredible to think about it, that here you are. You haven't even started your senior season yet. You already know where you're going. So at this point in time, what are your top priorities as you get ready for the 2022 high school football season, LJ?
My priorities are to keep on doing well in the classroom and just being a great teammate with my guys, trying to lead them to more wins throughout the year, just take it one by one and trying to get that state championship. And just stuff like that, I'm just trying to win. And I feel like that's my job right now, just help the team as much as I can. I'm not really concerned about myself so far because, I'm already locked up for the most part, knowing what I'm going to do. So I'm just really focused on the team and trying to get them better right now.
Stanford head coach David Shaw has been to El Paso plenty of different times for the Sun Bowl. What's he like? Because we see him as media members and we're kind of blown away at just his demeanor and how he is as a person. What's he like when you get to speak with him as somebody who's being recruited to Stanford?
He's just a really relaxed person. I guess you could kind of say it relates to Coach Brooks in a way. He's kind of a family man. He's a family man, just always with his family. He does whatever he can for his family. And he's just really, I feel, for the players, and he just sees them as more than players. It's not just a football recruit. He sees them as a person and kind of as their own kids. And that's what I really respect about him. And it's funny that you say El Paso because, going there, like I forgot that they played in the Sun Bowl so many times. So when I go into the office or like the football building, there's like 3 Sun Bowl trophies, which is like crazy.
That is crazy. How many recruiting trips did you take, LJ?
To where? To Stanford?
Just total. All together. How many recruiting trips did you take? Official and unofficial?
I took about like 15. I went to UTEP a whole bunch, like games and stuff like that. That was always fun. Been to Notre Dame for a game day, and that was pretty nice. Stanford twice. Baylor, that was my first second visit. I've been to UTSA twice, so all kinds of places. And then I've been to Alabama at a camp, right? And it was kind of funny because me and this other recruit, like no one knew who we were at the time and stuff like that. I had 2 offers. I think I had 1 offer at the time from UTSA. And, he had this pad, like we were lost, right? Because we were supposed to go get lunch. And we end up going to the facility. We're walking through the locker room and stuff like that. And we go get lunch where the players are. So we're in there with the players and we're eating lunch and coaches are coming by and be like, how you like the food? And we weren't supposed to be in there. We find out later that they had like jersey mics in another place. But, we saw the national championship trophies, the arcade, and that was pretty awesome.
Sounds great. Meanwhile, is it hard to explain to our listeners what these recruiting trips are like when you get a chance to see the campus, the student life? You've got players hosting you and just trying to make it seem like they can show you the best time you possibly can as a recruit.
I would say it's more like, I don't know, just going to a city, say you have friends that live in other cities, right? Yes. So, you go with them and they take you around like the nicest place and stuff like that. It's kind of like that, I would say, and you're blown away because, at Canutillo, we don't have the nicest. I mean, we have nice facilities, but it's not the nicest. But then when you go there, it's like, holy cow, like this is amazing. You think it's into the next level, and we go to another place, and you're like even more blown away, and you're just in shock almost.
All right, I want to wrap it up with this question. You said trying to win a state title with Canutillo. Do you believe that there will come a time sooner rather than later where there will be an El Paso high school football team that could have a legitimate shot to go deep into the state playoffs with a chance to ultimately win that coveted state title?
Oh, yes, sir. I believe so. I think it would have to be one of the lower divisions, so like the 5A or the 4A, because, at the 6A, we got teams like Duncanville and, Allen, where they have like 5,000 students, like 3,000 students, and we only have like 1,500 in our 6As. Right. So we're just undersized, like as a 6A in that sense. But at a 5A, I feel like we have a more of a competing chance. And then especially, I feel the biggest part is just those linemen. You know, if a school could get some linemen that could just block and dominate the O-line and D-line, I feel that we have like good enough skill players where we're able to compete with those guys, but we just really struggle in the trenches because usually we're undersized. But if we can make up for that in strength or speed, I think we'll be okay. And the school will be able to make it out of here.
LJ, we're excited about you, your senior season, following you at Stanford, and hopefully great things with the Eagles this season. Appreciate the time. Enjoy the rest of the summer, and thanks for joining us here on Sports Talk today.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. You guys have a good one.
You too.